What is up out there, Culture Junkies? We are back with another great episode of Culture Junkies Live. I'm your host, Kenshiro. I'm joined in studio by my good friends, the great Daidakuji, GQ, and Super Nerd Plus. How you doing, fellas?
What's up? What's up?
Hey there, everybody.
All good?
All good.
Great.
Yeah, Fallen Marvel.
And Fallen Marvel is checking in from remote. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? So hopefully everything stays tip top. I'm testing out a new camera tonight.
Oh, okay. All right. Moving up in the world. We got more than a few things to show off here as well. So one of the things that we got to show is hold on a second. Sorry, had to switch the camera. Sorry. We're down the operator today, so we're gonna have to bear with us a little bit. But today, obviously, the entire nation seemingly is in quarantine. I'm working from home. My kids aren't at school. The airport is practically barren and empty. GQ's being GQ, so nothing's really changed in his life.
Right.
But we want to kind of put together a coronavirus survival list, kind of like the things that we need to watch, read, consume while we're on this little. I don't want to call it a furlough because everybody ain't off work, right? Yeah. So, but honestly, so how's everybody really coping with everything so far?
Man, ain't nothing, no pimping on these hoes. No, I'm joking.
Wow.
It's the same old, man. Like, I work in airports, so it's nothing but Rona out there. But it's the same. I just wash your hands, drink plenty of water.
Ain't nothing changed for me.
Ain't nothing changed. As long as you
Still
deal with the
got
public.
old people coming, need some drugs.
Listen,
How are the old people, by the way?
They want their drugs. I have a lot of people coming up to the.
But they're still hoarding all the TP, right?
Well, we don't have any more TP.
Yeah, right.
wow.
Yeah,
They didn't run to get
for my
paper towel.
bunghole.
right. Exactly.
They're running to get that paper towel. Like, man, I'm gonna wipe if it kills me, and this stuff goes.
I'm gonna wipe if it kills me. No,
Hey,
till it
I
raw.
just realized this was the wet wipes, wet naps. They still on shelf.
those are gone.
Those gone too.
Those
Oh.
gone, bro.
Yourself with some
Hey.
Clorox
Like
wipes.
them baby wipes.
No,
all
I'm
that
talking about the
shit.
wipes to wipe your
Like
butt
out
with.
right
Yeah, I
now.
know.
Yeah.
Those? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, savages.
Well,
Right.
people are. They panic. They're not prepared. They're not whatever. I look at it as I'm good. Like I can stay home and enjoy my movies and my games and all my stuff that I have. There's a reason that I have all that stuff is to enjoy it. So now's the time to enjoy it.
Indeed.
Yeah,
It's indeed.
yeah, indeed. I wish I still had the soundboard attached. I don't have it right now, but
also,
I wish
what's
I
up to
did.
DBL King over there on YouTube. How you
Yeah.
doing tonight, sir or madam? I am not.
Wait a minute. Say that username again.
It's DBL King.
DBL Double King. I know who that is.
Oh.
I bet you that's Prodigy. Anyway, Double
Someone
King.
for anonymity on the internet, thanks to Kenshiro.
Hey, I don't care, man. I'm gonna call him out where I see him anyway. We hope everybody's ready for an hour and a half packed of really fun times. I picked up a few things at Walmart. I kind of want to show everybody on as well. As you can see from my lovely new sweatshirt, got that Culture Junkies merch. We're gonna show some of that off. But first thing we're gonna get to is we're gonna talk about this Bloodshot movie and kind of our thoughts of it. So let's go ahead and hit it.
Mixed reaction.
All right, so Bloodshot, starring Vin Diesel, Eiza Gonzalez. Oh my gosh, she was smoking hot in that movie. And Guy Pearce came out this past weekend. We went to see it as probably like the last Culture Junkies gathering movie event that we're going to have probably in the next couple of months, seeing as how they shut down all the movie theaters. But I want to turn it over to my good friends. What did you guys think of Bloodshot when you went to see it in the movie theater, GQ?
The movie was fine. It was fun. Like you said, Eiza Gonzalez was a better reason to even
This week in
see the
gaming.
movie. It was Vin Diesel being Vin Diesel. I mean, it's literally. I think what we were watching is remember that one point in time in Fast and the Furious where Dom, like, basically thought he lost Letty, and then Letty was like supposedly dead, and then he hooked up with that other girl who actually is married to Thor in real life. So he hooked up with the other girl, the blonde-haired chick, and ended up having a baby. But we ain't gonna talk about that. So I think this part, I think Bloodshot represents that point in time in Dom Dominic Toretto's life, and that was what he was doing in between those films. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But the movie was fun. I mean, it's a kickoff to the popcorn movie season. A little bit early, but I mean, it is what it is. And it was a fun movie. But I'm gonna turn it over to the other fellas because they saw it as well. So
Dino, you saw it, right?
I sure did. I think I was with you at the theater, my good
Sitting
man.
pretty close, man. You was a little bit close on me. I was like 6 feet.
Yeah,
Were
you
you-
stay way over here.
Yeah, man. We were kind of cramped up together in the theater. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, basically everything GQ said is right. It was a Vin Diesel movie. Vin Diesel. It did remind me of a movie that I would have watched in the early 2000s. It wasn't bad. The action was good. It was a very thin plot. Everything was given away by the trailer.
Thank you.
Because people in Hollywood don't understand. You know,
That was Sony. Remember, Sony made the movie.
Look, I'm not just, Sony did make the movie, but like, if you go back and watch trailers in the 80s, man, they don't tell you anything.
Well,
about that.
let's be fair.
Not 90s, 80s. The 80s. Go back and look at the 80s and 70s trailer. They just show action, and they have a dude talking, and it might say the bare minimum about the movie, and just show scenes out of order that make no sense.
In
like they
a
made their
world
own movie.
where there's a man
Oh, yeah,
But that's the
after a
90s,
woman.
dude.
That was the 70s. 70s had some shitty trailers.
They did, but that was fine. They didn't
Yeah,
give nothing away
true.
though. At least you got you went to the theater. Like for example, the 70s had a lot of obviously blaxploitation, grindhouse stuff like that. Those trailers were just like, look, you know what you in for. It's gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be crazy. It's probably gonna be poorly shot and made, but whatever. It's gonna be entertaining and fun. So a lot of those trailers, like that's why I like so much when we went to go see, getting way off topic, but when we went to go see Grindhouse, as a matter of fact, and they had them trailers in between the two films, it was like, damn.
Classic.
And then the fact that they made the Machete movie, it was like that was just cool.
Yeah.
Like, but that trailer was literally the original Machete trailer was like, dude, you know what you're in for. This movie is ridiculous. They showing a damn sex scene in the middle of the trailer. It's like this movie is gonna be off the hook and crazy.
Yeah, and those are the type of trailers I'm talking about. They don't really tell you what's going on.
Right. They are what they are. They're like it'll be the, like you said, the bare minimum of the plot. Oh, he was a immigrant that was like wrong.
Yeah.
And then but they mess with the wrong Mexican. And that's all you
something
need.
to eat.
Right.
Yeah.
And like that's all you really need.
And
Let's go.
That's how they should do it now. And now they're trying to make the movie tell part of the movie. I was just like, stop it. Just stop. Lie to us. Do it.
Lie to us.
I don't care, because Marvel was doing that stuff. I mean, tell me, they were. I mean, they weren't as bad as
blatant.
as Highlander.
Yeah.
But they were misdirecting left and right.
Oh, yeah.
And that's okay.
Which
Like I said,
I'm fine with. Which I am fine with. So
Did you see it, Fallen Marvel?
I did not. I honestly had no interest in seeing this movie.
Why? Please tell us why. Why didn't you have interest?
Because just about almost every other Vin Diesel outing outside of Fast and the Furious is essentially the same shit.
I mean,
It's very Vin Diesel-y. Is that what you said
So,
earlier?
where to lie?
It's like, look, Vin Diesel has basically found himself in this little bubble to where it's like, okay, Fast and Furious is like the main thing driving up his, whatever the case may be. He's getting a very nice check from that franchise, okay?
I mean, he is a producer.
So it's like anytime he ventures outside of that, like doing like these solo projects, probably outside of maybe Riddick. Now I'm not going to talk about the second one, but like the third Riddick movie was actually decent. But
Which one was the second?
it's like any like the
Chronicles
last Witch Hunter and stuff like that. And this, it's like a return to Xander Cage.
Oh,
It's
no.
like
There's certain.
I'm
he needs to stay. He needs to kind of stay. Now I'm not gonna say stay in his lane because again it's a Fast and Furious pun. But when Vin, like you said, when he does stuff like The Last Witch Hunter, when he does like Babylon. What was it? AD or something like that?
Yeah, it was like Babylon something.
I
Yeah,
never
it was
saw
some
that
weird
one.
sci-fi
That movie was
Yeah.
terrible because like even Michelle Yeoh couldn't say that movie. Man. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
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 Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I don't
she
even- I
was.
don't
She
even
sure
remember that movie.
was.
Yeah, that
She
movie
sure
was-
was.
But it was, and again, it's one of those like, dude, you're good at being Dominic Toretto. You're freaking excellent at being Riddick. Like Riddick is a freaking awesome character.
Yeah, I like the
I
Riddick
really enjoy the Riddick
Yeah.
character. So give me more of that. I'm good with that, but like some of his other stuff.
Should have took it off the chains, John.
Fucking, that was.
Oh no, he was a beast.
just-
He was a beast in Pitch Black, man.
Yeah,
Dude,
man.
yeah,
It's
I
just
like
like,
it. I
it's
mean,
like I
think
said,
I
it's
like the last one
I
they
think
did.
like it's those outside characters like Riddick is like his saving grace to me, and it's like we need more like Riddick based stuff. But I mean,
Or like when
I
he
don't
does
know.
Groot when
I
less
don't
is
know
more.
how true it is, but they claim because he has like the contract with Disney, he can't really do any rated R stuff or whatever. So I don't know how
buy
true
that.
that is.
I don't know.
So-
Don't buy that.
Think about
I
it
don't-
because
I don't-
Alter Carbon
I
wasn't
don't
as
really-
crazy.
It's
Wait,
like I
which one?
said, I don't know.
Alter
I
Carbon.
don't know. Like if they
No.
let him do that.
Alter
But, you know,
Carbon's
'cause-
really good.
No.
You know,
Season 2,
it's-
Alter Carbon
yeah.
with him, it wasn't as violent as it was in the first one. Is it because of the contract?
Are you talking about the?
Because Anthony Mackie, yeah, exactly.
I mean,
because it kind of
it was still pretty violent. People were
it wasn't as much.
people
The
were
first
getting
one.
murked in it.
Yeah, it was murder, but it wasn't full frontal nudity either.
Okay, but
What are you
here's-
talking about?
Not as much.
It wasn't as
Not
much,
as much,
it
but
was-
it had
I
some.
know,
I
but
said,
it
come
was-
on.
No, I'm not saying it didn't, but when the first one was just fucking everywhere.
I know
Okay.
it was. It should have been more because I expected.
I get what you guys were saying, but like for Vin Diesel, he's not even on screen. He's
Thank
just
God.
doing a voice. So why? I don't think the
I mean-
again Disney is.
I mean,
ironclad,
yeah,
but I
but,
don't think they're
I mean-
that ironclad.
I mean, probably not. Like I said, like that's why I said I don't know how true it is. I mean, but you know, he does get the I am group checks as well. So, you know, I don't. Again, this is speculation. I just something I've heard. I don't know how
I
true
don't
it is.
know.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I think that's more
But-
of the evil Disney Empire trope and all that because
Yeah.
let's be real. I'm gonna always say it. Pulp Fiction is a Disney movie, so Disney is a little bit
Yeah.
dirtier than y'all.
Technically or whatever, it is still a Disney movie.
So-
Disney owned.
Right,
So there you go.
It's like Disney can do dirty. Now, granted, you ain't gonna see Robert Downey Jr. showing up in no DC films
No.
ever.
Right.
Like that would just that's
Right.
probably in his contract. Like, look, damn it, we gave you $70 million for Endgame.
You better not ever show
you
me.
will
You
never
better
see-
not ever do no
You
work
would
for
never
Warner
set
Brothers.
foot on a DC set ever,
Right.
for anything.
Better not
Right.
ever.
Do they not own Miramax
And
anymore?
of course, and I think like
don't forget,
DC,
Miramax
like
is
I mean,
Weinstein's
DC was
company.
been putting out the same
So-
type of clauses, but
that's
it's like they
kinda-
haven't even really got their universe off the ground
Right.
to that level yet.
Right.
And it was just like
We talking about
because I still
Valiant?
because I always still
Yeah.
go back to that like video with Ezra Miller when
Hey.
he couldn't sign the Agents of Shield comic or whatever.
So hey,
It's like,
you know,
like
one
I
thing
bet
I
it's in
did.
his contract he couldn't sign that.
So one thing I wanted to bring up, I could have swore, didn't you say something about Batista being?
Yep.
in-
So if you go to IMDb right now,
Okay.
it has the
Yeah.
Eternal Warrior. If you know the Valiant comics, Eternal Warrior was part of that universe, and Bloodshot connected. So there could be a spinoff going on.
Yeah, but was he in the movie? I never saw him.
He probably was mentioned. Was he mentioned? You heard anything about Eternal Warrior? Well, they probably
No.
mentioned him yet. Go to IMDb right now and stick a Batista.
Man, I bet you that was some fake
It's-
bullshit.
it's-
I bet
it's
you.
also a possibility it was a deleted scene.
possibility.
That'd be crazy, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't forget they do that
Okay.
shit all the time. though.
Okay.
There'll be times on
They do.
IMDb if somebody's listed,
They
and it's like I don't remember them in that movie. Then you go to the actual Blu-ray, and it's like yeah, they're in a cut scene.
Because the thing
Okay,
is, you gotta think
okay.
about it, Valiant has one of the third biggest connected universes besides DC and Marvel.
Okay, so fine. And I'm going to keep the camera on you. You answer this for me. So, Bloodshot was actually a decent film, in my opinion. But do you think this will really kickstart them doing something else?
Absolutely.
And who?
As far as the next character,
Yeah.
I mean, you got so Ninja K. We already
Ninja
saw
K.
that with Jason David Frank playing Bloodshot originally,
Yeah.
and that Bat in the
I
Sun.
mean, Bat in the Sun. Yeah,
Right,
but
right,
that's
right.
a YouTube.
That was
I'm talking about a
right,
feature film.
So I can see Ninja K being bigger than Bloodshot. Why? Because he's a British guy. He's gonna have that smooth James Bond. It's gonna
Yes,
be the
he
new James.
does.
So I think he'll be major.
I read one issue and I really liked it.
It's
so,
really good. Yeah. So I think he will be the next big thing once this Rona get over with and they find the right British person to play him. And it has the whole machismo of, because it is espionage no matter what. It's espionage first and foremost. But having a ninja involved with it, and then, he's basically James Bond as a ninja. Simple as that.
Okay.
You can't get no different. You can't talk. That's what it is. It's going to blow. I
right.
guarantee you.
All right, so honestly, like I said, Bloodshot I thought was a decent film. Obviously, with the theaters shut down, it's already been being pushed to digital distribution, much like Invisible Man and a bunch of other movies. Obviously, it's not gonna make its money, which is
Sucks.
I don't.
They shut
I'm
down
not
the movie
necessarily
theaters.
sure. It's hard to say. I don't, we love speculating about box offices and stuff like that. It's hard to say what Bloodshot would have done had the coronavirus not just basically swept the entire nation. But
Right.
it is what it is. So,
It was
how
some numbers, but it was PG-13, wasn't it?
Nah, I don't think
Yeah.
so. It had a,
Yeah.
No,
It was.
It was?
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm thinking of something else.
See, I mean, that was my only problem with it being PG because he's basically the Punisher with powers.
Yeah,
And
but he was murking the heck out of people.
I'm
and
saying
they
he
weren't
wasn't.
showing it.
I'm not saying he wasn't.
They do
but-
that in PG-13.
He did look
I
pretty
guess.
cool.
Yeah, I'm not saying he didn't murk anybody, but I'm saying
Right.
it should have been rated R. Just to jumpstart it, they would have made money if it was. It should have been like John Wick, so to speak, as far as the violent, over the top violence. It should have been that, and I think they would have made their money even more. Even though with the Corona stuff, if it didn't happen, it would have
Right.
made some money.
Okay.
Vin Diesel or not, it would have made money if it had that John Wick over the top violence.
All right. So I want to know from the Junkie Nation. I know we didn't really get to. Yeah, I didn't see a lot of chatting about Bloodshot. So maybe you guys skipped it too, or didn't chance in the movie theaters. But if you do get a chance to go and see it, or if you did get a chance to go and see it, please keep the conversation going in the comments. We're gonna move on to the next. What? Keep it going in the comments. All right. We're gonna move on to the next topic here. Here we go.
Random fandom.
All right, so for the random fandom moments for tonight, got my trusty $1 million belt here. We're going to be talking about WWE, and apparently now it's also AEW doing these empty arena and also doing their main live shows at the Performance Center for WWE. So this past Friday Night SmackDown and also this past Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
Both were filmed at the Performance Center. Both broadcast live from the Performance Center, which I believe is in Florida. It's hilarious to see Stone Cold Steve Austin's music hit, and you have no crowd,
No pop at all.
nothing. It's the weirdest thing in the world. And then he's even playing off of the fact that there's no crowd because he's like, "Give me a hell yeah!"
Yeah, and the guy's going,
Yeah, Byron Saxon.
That's some
Lucas,
good
yeah, so that's about to be a meme and a half. But I think what I wanted to talk about with this one is, now granted, wrestling has always been a very organic medium. It's always been a very organic type of entertainment. It's like, you had The Rock, you had Austin, you had Triple H, all them guys in Attitude Era. They feed off the crowd. Rock especially will respond to the crowd. Austin will respond to the crowds. John Cena is really good at responding to the crowd. But it's so weird to see like these guys now that are so scripted doing what they do with no
one to
crowd.
play off of.
It's
Yeah.
it's so weird.
Yeah.
first time we ever saw something like that.
Right. It's like, and then the fact that they're talking about doing WrestleMania at the Performance
Yeah.
Center. How
that's
in the
weird.
world are you gonna pull off a huge pay-per-view like that with no crowd?
Yeah, man.
But
What do
their
you guys
whole
thoughts on
thing
that?
is the show. Those guys get in that ring, they're supposed to be doing what they're supposed to be doing, regardless of crowd or not. So
Well, shit, can they just have the audio track?
Studio
Like,
audience
studio audience.
wrestling. I love
wait,
it.
hold on. But have you
I
guys
mean,
ever watched Japanese
SmackDown
wrestling?
been using audio tracks like the last few years anyway.
Really? I didn't know that.
What?
Japanese wrestling. Now I don't know if it's still like this, but I bought DVDs in the early 2000s Japanese wrestling because that's when I was really getting into wrestling. And on the Japanese track of the DVD, quiet. It's just like white, but there's people there, but they're not nothing. They're not doing anything. But in the American part where they're doing they put like people, making noise and whatnot. I'm just like, but it's just like that. It's watching Japanese wrestling. I was just like, how are you so quiet watching these guys do the wrestling? I was like, you're not getting
Kinda
into
weird.
it.
The thing
Maybe
is,
it
though, like,
changed.
they're sumo
Japan
wrestlers.
is such a such a composed civilization when it comes to stuff or whatever. It's like they'll get with it, but they are very, very composed. So it's like a whole different thing when you watch Japanese. Because I've watched like a couple of like big Japanese matches, like primarily probably the Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho stuff, and it was a really good crowd, but it wasn't like overly insane like ours tend to be with big matches. And I kind of thought that was like rather interesting because it's like the dynamic is so different with different countries. So it's like at the same time, it's just like that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
So I guess AEW's doing the exact same thing, huh?
Yeah, can't have no crowds over.
God damn it.
What are they talking? Over 10 people or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
man.
Except
Shit.
for when you go to certain
Man.
big box retailers, seems like they don't follow that at all. Certain ones.
Man, hey, give me some free tickets. I'll go down there and fuck it.
What? You'd risk it.
Look.
Hell, listen, I got this.
You got the
And
sanitizer.
just in case my hands get ashy.
Yeah, hit me up with some of that. Look at all that crap.
Hey man, you missing the chopstick? The chapstick though.
Oh, I got that in my pocket. I'm with that too.
Okay,
my
so
brother.
you completely ready.
Listen, I got deodorant in my backpack. I got ibuprofen just to get a little headache. I got all
Hey,
that.
didn't they say you not supposed to take ibuprofen during the?
I heard
Who
that
said
today.
that?
Okay.
No, I literally heard
Okay.
that today. I don't know, like, those who I work with, the pharmacists I work with, did not hear that, but a person came in and was saying, like, I heard you're not supposed to take, because they're asking for children's Tylenol.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, okay, no, we don't have it. It's all sold out. It's sold out. And you got Motrin? It's like, no, we don't have Motrin either. But he was like, I heard you're not supposed to take Motrin. And I was like, really? I did not hear that.
I ain't hear no shit.
Why?
Like that. Why? What's the?
I'm not 100% sure, but when I read about how people, die from this, it starts with certain failures, and kidney failure is apparently one of them. And Motrin, if I remember correctly, is excreted through the kidneys. It affects you if you take too much.
I got you.
But
Okay.
I don't know if that has something to do with it because they didn't hear anything about
I
it.
ain't never seen a crackhead with the Rona.
Well, quick disclaimer, if I get the camera to myself so we can say this to the audience.
Go ahead.
We here at the Culture Junkies do not give medical advice on
Nah.
anything. So anything you hear,
No, we
go
don't.
Google it yourself because we ain't saying what to do when it comes to
No
gonna say,
WebMDs.
You mean like them cats out there that are thinking that if they drink bleach that
Yeah.
somehow they won't get the coronavirus?
Let
like, dude,
them
how stupid
drink
can you be?
bleach.
You know
You
what?
wanna be
At
dumb?
that point,
Shout out to
I'd
them.
say it's natural
Right.
selection. If you're
Shout out to
that
the
stupid
hotel
to
people
drink
out there
bleach.
telling some.
You know
yeah.
what? Father Marvel's right. That's
Why?
natural selection at its best,
course,
right there,
absolutely.
for real. Like if you, man, dude,
Shout out
you
to the
know.
shout out to the hotel people.
Right.
My brother, you should always soak your body in the natural elements, and you will cure from the Rona.
Kill the
Bleach,
Rona.
bleach isn't really.
Kill the Rona.
My last thing to add. Now, this is my last thing to add to the
Okay.
WWE thing. Honestly, it's like, it's for one, it's weird that they are doing it this way. I understand why they're doing it, but it's obviously with an event like WrestleMania, it's going to be extremely weird to just not have a crowd there. And to be honest, I've stopped watching WWE years ago. If you guys are familiar with the channel, I don't watch WWE anymore. But it's just like at this point, it's just gonna be weird. It's not gonna have the same feel like as a full stadium as people are used to. But as far as I'm concerned, the only empty arena, the only time they emptied the arena before with me was The Rock versus Mankind for the WWF title. So that's the only time I acknowledged like an actual built up match in the empty arena. As far as the rest of this goes, it's just like, hey, y'all do what y'all do with that.
Right. I mean, it did have a certain surreal feeling to it. Like you're watching a rehearsal. It literally felt like you was watching like them practice what they were going to do for the live show. And it was this weird. And unfortunately, this is what we have to look forward to for the next couple of weeks if you are a WWE or even AEW fan, because AEW just announced that they're doing their shows empty arena as well. So it's a weird time. And it's almost like, as much as they are rivals, now granted AEW is doing gangbusters on what is it, Wednesday nights, I believe.
So, yeah.
Which they're opposite us, so I don't know how they do numbers like that, but whatever. So we should be doing numbers,
Right.
Whatever. Anyway, back to what I'm saying. I would like to see a crossover. Now is the time. Let's do the AEW WWE crossover. Have like a joint pay-per-view and fight each other at a neutral place in front of no crowd.
Well, you know what happened the last time they had a crossover, right?
Well,
Vince properly bought. We had properly bought WCW.
That's
So
not-
you can't buy this deal.
Yeah.
You can't buy this one. The other one, Ted Turner, was kind of ready to offload it anyway.
Yeah,
'cause
he
it
That's
was
true.
money. This guy is a billionaire that's doing it because he's something he wants to do.
Him and his son.
Yeah, so it's like,
I thought it was because it was like some other like TV crap that they were doing with, to where it's like when they came along, they weren't interested in keeping a wrestling show on TNT.
well, it's partially that too. But I mean, let's be real. WCW is losing money because don't forget.
I mean, they were.
yeah.
I mean, we're not gonna act like they weren't. So I mean, I know that for sure. But like, I know that was probably like the main reason why they was like, nah, get rid of it.
Well, the other part of it again is you had all those guaranteed contracts for people that were basically sitting at home, not necessarily working or wrestling. You had dwindling returns on the matches and the crowds and everything. So it's just
Right.
it was easy for Vince to come in and just basically just buy it, which is hilarious.
I hope you don't even touch it.
Oh no, no, he can't buy AEW. He's not in that position.
No.
Yeah, because I think the people that back it are billionaires.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's
And
yeah.
Cody Rhodes is part of it. He's like the not CEO, but I forgot what.
He's basically the guy in charge on
yeah.
the wrestling side of everything.
So is Kenny Omega too.
I mean, he was
Yep.
just. I mean, between him and Jericho, I mean, I think it was him, Jericho, and like Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Are kind of like the ones that's like running the thing. So it's like
and his wife.
they're like the big three over there.
Like, was it? It was kind of on shaky ground when it started, right? Like, but it pretty much because okay, so this isn't going to end up being like another TNA situation, right?
I don't think so.
Okay,
No, I don't think so. Plus, them getting picked up by TNT was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So Ted Turner in a way is kind of back in the wrestling game by picking up AEW.
I mean,
Was Ted Turner
TNT
picking I thought it was some not Ted Turner. I thought it was I don't know the names, but they're like
you on TNT?
It's Viacom,
Middle
right?
Eastern or something.
Well, actually, no wait. He
No,
didn't he
that's who owns-
didn't he
that's who owns
technically
the actual thing.
Yeah.
But
Didn't-
Turner, as far as the one, is
Oh,
he's
it's
broadcaster.
television.
Yeah,
Yeah.
television.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, and again, like it's just because all of us grew up in the Attitude Era watching wrestling at that point. I mean, Naito and Big Pimpa J and Kenshiro all and Super Nerd all have stories of going over various houses and watching.
Monday was my house. Thursday was the Reeves brothers' house.
Yep.
And
And pay-per-views was at Tom's.
was just
Well, at
like,
Tom's house.
Sometimes,
usually.
yeah, it was there.
Yeah, it was at Tom's house usually.
And then Tommy Styles over
Yeah.
there in over
Japan.
right now. And I used to do WrestleMania parties. Unfortunately, we might not be doing any WrestleMania parties. That's we probably will. F them. We're doing. Our
Well, for
WrestleMania
us, it will probably won't be that big. We could throw it down here if we really want it.
Can't
Right.
stream it though.
No.
Can't have none of that audio coming across there. Ain't trying to get sued out of existence.
Right.
So
Any more? Or we all?
no, just what's up to Mr. Rigor Mortis over there on YouTube as well as Cameron. How y'all both doing on this fine evening?
Right.
Hope y'all are staying in.
Severio said on Twitch, he was like, "Those were the days."
Of course.
Back in the day,
And-
those were the
And
days.
shout out to my boy Brian Cannon over there at EGAOBN. What's up, bro?
What's up, Brian? What's up, man? Glad you checking out the stream. Glad you're checking out the stream. All right, so I think that should cover it.
He said you still suck at Virtua Fighter.
You know what? Just for that, when we go down there, I'm bringing my stick. I might be. I'm sure he's rustier than I am. So I'll go ahead and I'll mop him up a couple times, and just put him through his paces. But anyway, so let's move on to the next one, and it's seemingly a lot of people's favorite. All right, let's go.
This Week in Gaming.
All right, this week in gaming features, I don't know, some pretty sexy women fighting in a ring against each other.
Oh.
Yeah, so enjoy it.
Well, I
Rumble
think
Roses?
your way, sir.
Culture Junkies!
And we're back. Hey, everybody. That was This Week in Gaming, and one of my most favorite games in the entire gaming universe, Streets of Rage 3. That's what we led off with. That game is super awesome, and if anybody who has not played it, I don't know how you can have not played it. Did I say that right? But you can find it almost anywhere. Almost anywhere. You can find it on the Switch right now. You can get it on that collection. PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and
But it was
guess
a
what?
Sega game. Why would it be a PlayStation 3, PlayStation? What are you
Because
talking
of the
about?
Sega collection.
Oh, the Sega
Genesis
collection, okay.
collections that they put out on
Yeah.
there. They've been putting them out forever. But Streets of Rage 4 is coming. You know, not to derail from what we've seen in there, but Streets of Rage 4 is coming, and it's been long awaited because that 3.
I feel like
was
we
that
just talked
deal.
about this last week.
I think we
didn't
did last
Yeah.
week. I mean, they had some other games in there that I know that I've played. Second Son, because I really like the Infamous series. It sucks that I think we got 2 Infamous games, early PlayStation 4 life, and that's basically it. I hope we see something for the PlayStation 5.
What was that? Was Infamous First Light? Was that one of them?
First Light and Second Son.
Yeah, with the girl.
Yeah, you play with I think Fetch is the main character for that.
Yes, that was her name. Yes.
That was fun.
Like, what kind of a
games
name
are
was
really
Fetch
good.
for her? Like, what was that?
Definitely want to get a physical copy of it.
I don't know. Mr. Rigor Mortis said that looked like the Streets of Rage remake, though.
It was the
And
remake.
Eagle-eyed.
Yeah, and I, it was a thing that was discussed, but it got caught late. So, good catch out there, because I also caught that, because that was a Streets of Rage remake, not technically Streets of Rage 3, because if everybody knows Streets of Rage 3, Axel wears a yellow shirt with black pants. Blaze wears a gray outfit, and everybody else I don't really give a shit about. But no, I shouldn't say that, because Skate was freaking awesome. He also wore something
I even
different.
had the name Blaze and wearing a gray outfit.
No, well, she was wearing red.
I know. But your name
Yeah,
is
red
Blaze.
was
You
her
should be
color.
wearing
I don't know
red.
why they would change that.
I can tell you why, because they were stanky after they had to change their clothes. Like, look,
She
man,
got
this
other
shirt
clothes
stank.
with red.
Right.
She got other red clothes, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, they just didn't swap out what she was wearing, because it's literally wearing the exact same thing but a different color.
Yeah.
I don't know. People hated on that for whatever strange reason. That does not make a game suck more.
Oh no, I can understand that
weird.
completely. But Dead or Alive 2 was on there though, and Dead
Yes.
or Alive 2 was a
Oh, Dead or Alive 2
phenomenal
was
game.
At the
Immaculate.
time. At the time.
It was the
Okay.
shit.
When
Okay,
Dead or Alive 2
question.
came out. Okay, go ahead.
Serious question.
Yeah.
How many of us on the panel have turned up the age counter?
We didn't have to.
Turn up
Like,
the age counter?
Yeah, we didn't have to.
What age
Oh, like
counter?
like
What
when
you
the,
talking about?
when the game
Just throw
came
that
out,
question out there.
when the game came out back in the day, they would basically tone down the boob physics. You know, if it they did.
You haven't paid attention to that.
Yeah, yeah. If you weren't of a certain age, they would turn down the boob physics, so the boobs would kind of like stay in place. But we never had to worry about that, you know, because we were of age at the time.
Here's what's goofy about that.
Yeah.
The rumor. Well, I mean, I guess technically it had small effect, but the age counter went all the way up to 99.
Yep.
So, I mean, that
Sure
was the
did.
cool thing. But what's so dumb about that is the original PlayStation version had a literal breast bounce option. to
Dude,
toggle.
the shit was ridiculous,
It was very
man.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
They did
That
not
I
move
didn't know. I never
realistically
touched
at
the
all in
first
that
one.
game.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that.
Damn.
No, the DOA on the PlayStation, like when it had it, like, dude, when I say the boobs were bouncing like incredibly unrealistically, it was
were all over
it
the
was
place.
just crazy. It was just crazy. No, but no. Speaking of the merits of the game,
Yeah.
graphically, the jump from 1 to 2 was unbelievable.
It was amazing.
It was unbelievable. And then the fact that I think DOA 2 was the first one to introduce multi-level stages, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Knocking the
so
shit out
it,
of somebody.
so it had that. It had the hazard. It still had the hazard zones from DOA 1.
Yeah.
And the fighting system at the time was still actually pretty good. The only controversy it had was that dedicated counter button that it had. Dude, that shit was trash,
They had
dude.
to
Are
take-
you
no,
kidding
no,
me?
They changed it because it was.
No, they changed it later.
No,
Initially,
Didn't they
I
change it
could
three,
no, I
didn't
could
they?
have sworn part 1 had the dedicated counter button, but part 2 they changed it where you had to do like a certain
certain
motion
move.
and the counter button.
Oh no,
grab.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because three was just one single button. It was a 3 or 4. It is one single button.
The counter button in the second was pretty technical. It wasn't just like you just press it and you counter.
But the counter window in the second one
was wide as hell.
From what I remember.
That shit was wide. Like
I used to cheat like
it was so forgiving. The counter window in DOA 2, like it was just unbelievable. Of course, but I still enjoyed the game. Besides that, I think what was it? What was the other thing about the game? Was it was the multiple costumes the other?
It was
big deal?
tons of costumes.
That was from the first one though.
You had a lot of ones on the original PlayStation.
Dreamcast. Why the Dreamcast version?
Yeah, the Dreamcast one was like the arcade perfect.
But
whoop the cowboy shit.
The PS2 one, DOA Hardcore.
They had more in that.
Yeah, had more stuff in it.
Yeah.
But the thing about that game, that was the first time any of them ever had a finishing move. It was Ayane. She was the only one that had an actual finishing move, and it was only on one stage.
That snow stage.
Yeah, that snow stage, and that was it. Other than that, it was that was it. But the game graphically was just amazing. Like when you were looking at it back, obviously now it's like okay, whatever. But back then, like that was insane how good that game looked.
That was a selling point for the Dreamcast. That was like one of the main things for the Dreamcast. Why I was so hyped about it is that you were getting arcade perfect ports for the first time in console history. Everything that was coming out was arcade perfect. Dead or Alive, Street Fighter 3,
Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Well, I don't know
Power
about
Stone.
Power Stone. Virtua Fighter 3.
Virtua Fighter 3 too.
Probably looked like it, but I didn't
it
play
was
3 in arcade.
No,
so
it was pretty arcade perfect. Yeah.
And then like just tons of them, but just Capcom ruled. Everything they put out there was just like, all right, this is gold.
So here's something funny about that. So I got Dead or Alive 2 for Christmas one year, and my mom got me a second controller. My brother's older than me. He's way older than me. So back he was with the Atari era. So seeing titties bounce, he's like, the fuck? He tripped. I said, cuz you see the titties bouncing in the game? I said, yeah, things change, brother. Things change. So, and I laughed to this day because I thought about it like he really, because he ain't played video games like that, So, the graphically they were showing it bouncing.
Well, Dead or Alive jumped the shark on that, though, when they put in individual boob mounts. I'm like,
yes. Yes.
Did they do that?
That was that 3 or 4?
They put that in 4 because it was shortly after they did the Dead or Alive Extreme.
I think that was what 3 was Xbox exclusive, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3
Yeah.
was Xbox
3 and 4 were Xbox 360.
No. 3 was on Xbox, the original Xbox.
Yeah, 3
was on the original Xbox.
That was
360.
that was the first one to ever have actual
3. That was
console DLC. But it was because they added I think another costume or something for Kasumi off of that demo disc, and that was the only for a time that was the only way you could get that costume was off of one of the Xbox magazine demo discs. Yeah,
that sucks.
I still have that demo disc actually.
And of course, I guess one of the things that DOA 2 was famous for was that it reintroduced Ryu Hayabusa to the world pretty much, because it was like he had been gone since the NES days when Ninja Gaiden was over, and then DOA 2 comes back and they were like,
he was in the first DOA.
Yeah, they put him in the first.
No, I could have swore he.
No, he was in the first one. He was wearing gym shoes in that.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
First one, his Ninja Gaiden look.
His Ninja Gaiden look. That's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it
They
was.
started to move towards that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But no, when he came back and they kind of introduced, and then of course Ayane and Kasumi were ended up crossing over into the Ninja Gaiden series, at some point anyway.
Yep.
I think that was another big selling point for Team Ninja and Dead or Alive, that crossover between the two of them. Would y'all? And I know we're talking about DOA 2 a lot, and we got a few other games maybe to probably try and get to, but what about Tengu, man? Tengu the boss.
He was easy.
He was easy as hell.
Shit.
I just don't like
Wait a minute, whoa. How was he tough for you? I want to hear
The
this.
shit out of his ass.
Tengu was tough for you?
Because he was like the ultimate zoner in that game. He was irritating as fuck.
Okay, but you could make him do what you wanted him to do.
He always like turns around and do the little dance and does like the little wind move with his wings.
But here's
Shit
the
was
thing.
irritating.
No, if you had a fast enough character, that was the point. With Ayane, to beat him, all I would do with Ayane is move back about mid-screen where he would start up the animation for it, and then just move in with her drill attack. She would hit him out of it every single time, because that was like the whole point of playing that game that way. if I could get my camera.
Sorry.
That was the whole point of playing the game that way is you could make the bosses
Can't be in
do
the chat.
what you wanted to do.
Work the board.
So
Well, maybe that was because she was his daughter. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they gave her a special
no,
privilege.
she's Rido's daughter. She's Rido's.
Say what?
She's Rido's rape daughter.
Huh?
Rido, the
Yeah,
boss
that's
from the
the
first
story.
game.
Rido's
That's
rape,
the story.
rape daughter. I like the way he said that.
That's-
Like she's
that's-
Rido's rape
That's how
daughter.
she was conceived. So, I
Couldn't
mean,
say
it's-
that. Yeah, okay.
That's
the truth.
fucked up.
But yeah, moving on to the other games real quick. I mean, Tom Clancy, who his name is used for so much stuff.
Really?
Rainbow Six though,
Rainbow Six Vegas 2.
Yeah. It was a very like the Vegas series was really good for Rainbow Six, but the crazy thing about it is, and I was watching that in the video. Blind firing in video games is always so dumb to me. It's like it's not blind firing. You're the player, you can see exactly what you're shooting at. Blind firing should technically not even be a thing in video gaming because it's like, okay, my character is doing the animation shooting around the corner. I can see around the corner, so I can hit whatever I want to hit. Like, I wish they would have something with that mechanic where it's like, if you do that, your controller suddenly reverses, control or
So you
does
can't
something
see.
weird so you can't just pinpoint, get headshots around the corner.
Yeah, that's
So-
kind of BS.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I think
That's one
just
thing I'd like to see.
aesthetically,
Yeah.
it looked cool because it was like, oh, you see that done in movies a lot. So it was like, it's only blind shooting by look only, but it's really not. Like it's really just for aesthetic.
Yeah, and to me that was kind of cheese. Kind of like
Cheese muffins.
Hey, I ain't gonna front. At least you kill people and get past the next level.
I got you.
I mean,
there was
yeah,
one other game on there. It was Battlefield Hardline.
Battlefield Hardline. Now, Battlefield Hardline. I'm a Battlefield fan. Like a lot of people like Call of Duty. Like they are slaves. I shouldn't say slaves. I shouldn't say slaves. Slaves is wrong. But okay. So basically, they prefer Call of Duty over Battlefield. I've always preferred Battlefield over Call of Duty, mostly because of the various different play modes that they have. Battlefield Hardline was to me it was the ultimate games of cops and robbers because like literally that's what it was. It was Battlefield is always two factions against each other. This one it's bank heist versus the police. You're either one or the other. You're either getting away with the loot and foiling the cops, or you're the cops and you're arresting the perps. So. And you got all the vehicles and playing in the midst of downtown locales and stuff like that in the city. The only thing that probably would have made it a little bit, up GQ's alley if they actually had this is actually if a lot of these things, the bank heists and stuff like that, were happening and there was like innocent bystanders that you could take hostage.
Okay, here's the issue with everything you just said. All that is like I can turn on the news and see that. That's police state versus the people. That's literally what you just described.
But it was fun. It was fun, man.
Whatever.
Song
See, here's
come
the
to
thing.
mind.
It was fun.
Mr.
Battlefield
Rigor
has
Mortis
always
didn't like that one.
right.
A lot of people
Battlefield has always
didn't.
been
A lot of
it's
people
always been
didn't
a
like
war
it.
A lot
A lot of people didn't
didn't.
like it.
Yeah, I was about to
And-
say, Mr. Rigor Mortis in the chat said he hated that one. It's like to me, it's like if you're gonna name your game Battlefield, and most of your games have been like in war zones, I expect to see war zones. I don't want Battlefield the Urban Edition.
So basically, it was Narc.
right.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do
And-
Narc, do Narc, but
Right.
like Battlefield,
True.
the Urban Edition.
I think after Battlefield 3, it just went down the shit.
I didn't play it.
Oh, no,
I think the
Battlefield
same
4 was
thing-
good.
I think the same thing can be said about like
First
just
person
the,
shooting, you know what I mean?
just to piggyback on people not liking a game.
It made me feel
I
ill.
believe
to
Gears
do.
Judgment wasn't exactly looked favorably upon in
don't
hindsight.
Yeah, why
remember
was
that.
that?
I don't
Why
remember
was that? Why was Gears
Personally, I
Judgment
don't-
not?
I,
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know because I never played it. So I mean,
Okay.
but from what I hear,
Okay, Gears Judgment?
I don't know. A lot of people really was not feeling it.
It was
Like,
probably
I don't know
Gears-
why
it was
specifically.
probably Gears
but, I
of
mean,
War
if,
Solo.
if anyone in the chat can let us know, go by.
Yeah,
by
why
all
didn't you
means,
like
go
Gears
ahead.
of War Judgment?
That's a good question.
Because I don't remember it.
No, I do get Gears.
No.
It came out on 360.
No,
It
I
was
played the
fourth one
first
on the
two. I just
360.
haven't gotten. I didn't play them all
Yeah.
yet. Like that was just
I
the one
don't
I
know.
missed.
Don't remember.
Yeah, I didn't. I like after Gears
on-
3. I haven't
Yeah.
been playing Gears to be honest. So
Yeah,
I mean,
like I bought Gears 4 basically to play with the fellas on Xbox One. Well, I played on my PC and did cross-platform
Show
play.
off.
Well, it wasn't show off. It's just this is one of them things. So
Cross-platform.
yeah, cross-platform. Hey, I'd rather do that than spend $400 on an Xbox. But I'm just saying. Anyway,
So you can play video games and watch porn at the same time. Gotcha.
hey man, you ain't supposed to.
sorry.
Anyway,
Apologies.
no. I bought Gears 4, and if it wasn't for playing on multiplayer, I didn't really care about playing Gears. I've never been that big of a Gears fan. Like except for Gears 1, I loved Gears 1. Gears 1 was fun.
Sweet.
Yeah.
But ever since then, like it's always kind of been more the
Actually,
same to me.
Megashawn got me
I
playing.
don't have Gears 4.
You don't have
I
Gears
do
4.
not. I have all the other ones. No, I don't have 4 and 5.
Actually, you know what the funny thing is? I have 4.
Oh, wow.
Here's why. Because when I got my Xbox One S, it came with it.
It came with it.
So it's just
Got
like,
it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's like it's downloaded, but it's not like I played it.
I'll
but,
get it when it's $5.
right.
It might be 2 cents now.
Right. Just to close it out, though, Mr. Rigor Mortis said he was in the Army at the time, and he said that blind fire stuff that they used to do, and they still do actually in games, got on his nerves because it's not something you would ever do, like for real. That's a movie thing. So movie magic, everybody.
Movie magic.
Movie
Yes, sir.
magic.
Like that was the thing, making games cinematic. So like it makes sense. It's just what you just said.
All right. So that was This Week in Gaming, everybody. If you like this segment, make sure you come to our YouTube channel, search youtube.com/Culture Junkies, and subscribe to our channel, and make sure you hit that notification bell, because every week, Sunday, noon, you'll find a brand new trailer or brand new video for This Week in Gaming that covers all of the game releases over the course of time for that week. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next segment. Here we go.
For the culture.
All the Marvel.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have been hiding under a rock, which I doubt you have been, Sony did a stream today breaking down the specifics on what the PS5 could potentially do. And for those that suffered through the presentation and stuff like that, most of us probably fell asleep halfway through it. However, after the fact, as far as breaking down the specs and stuff that we're supposed to be looking at, we finally have some hair. And of course, a lot of folks are going to be comparing it to what Microsoft has shown us with the Xbox Series X. And it does look like, obviously, specs wise, the Series X is going to be the more powerful machine. Now, with that being said, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the better console just because it's the better machine, unless maybe you have a whole PC straightened up for that. So even with that being said, we have the CPU, which is roughly about the same. It's only slightly slower with the gigahertz. Teraflops, which was already been said, has been a rather incalculable thing with the teraflops. So again, Xbox is 12, PS5 is.
Oh, he's breaking up a little bit.
I think it was 10.
Yeah, he's breaking up a little bit.
Break it down. Same.
Yeah, man.
Memory bandwidth has increased a lot. Whenever internal hard drive is going to have SSDs.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox is slightly higher. It's going to be supposedly exactly 1 terabyte. PS5 is a little bit lower than that. And a bunch of other stuff. I mean, for the most part, it still looks like a pretty solid machine. But I know for me personally, I'm more wondering what the game development side is doing personally. So, so with that being said, as far as the breakdown of the PS5, just giving my thoughts on the presentation itself, the information was there. Like, however, Sony was framing this just to get folks to watch probably wasn't a good idea, because this presentation felt very much like it was designated for like a game development conference. This was not meant for the average consumer at all. It was not, in hindsight. So, but I guess they had something to have to put out there to get people interested. So far, I would say Microsoft has the better presentation of it, because they actually have something physical that people can test and show. So Sony is still holding off on that. So apparently, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it still remains to be seen how the performance in comparison to Xbox is going to stack up. But so far, a lot of things that we heard is going to be good, like the 3D audio implementation sounds really awesome. They're really trying to do the whole they're restructuring like any patches for the games, which is kind of a big deal considering how often we get games patched and how long it takes to download and all of that.
Yeah,
So-
actually, yeah. Who was that? You?
I got a question.
Yeah, go
The
ahead.
fuck is a teraflop?
Yeah, teraflop is.
When a motherfucker told, hey, hold on. When a motherfucker told me teraflop, I had to agree with him. Like, yeah, I know what a teraflop is. What the
Right.
fucking teraflop is.
It's
Right.
1,000 gigaflops.
Right. That's actually a good way of putting it. That's a good way of putting it. But no, to kind of boil it down, for me, a lot of things, what I took, and to follow Marvel's point, the presentation, Mark Cerny, who is the lead developer of the PlayStation 5, my man was very passionate, but it sounded like an ASMR video. Like
Oh, man.
shit, dude,
Yeah.
he
It was
you
relaxing,
felt like,
wasn't it?
Dude, it legit felt like
he could have put you to sleep.
Like Bob Ross?
Yeah, no, almost worse than Bob
Oh,
Ross.
man.
But he could have put you to sleep. But the information, like Fallen Marvel said, what he was doing out was really good. What stuck out to me, like he said, was the thing with the patching. And this is my interpretation of what he was saying, right? So basically, there is the annoying thing about patches, you have to download it and then you have to wait for the system to install, right? You download the patch, there is no install. You download the patch, it's done. That's it. So like when you're downloading the patch, like when you're not playing the game overnight, next time you boot it up, the patch has already been applied. Like you don't even have to wait for any install or anything like that. Now, I think where most people are going to notice this is from when like they're playing live and they say, "Hey, there's a patch that's been released. Go ahead and do it." Now, what I'm wondering is if you'll be able to keep playing your game, the patch applies itself while you're playing it,
cool.
and then the game experience kind of changes as you're even playing it. Like they've tweaked some things.
Right.
But the other thing and I'll turn it over to GQ so he can talk about it a little bit too. But the other thing that stuck out to me from the PS5 presentation today was that the whole thing with load time, it's over. Like there is no such thing as load time anymore.
So no more Resident Evil doors.
Yeah, no. So no opening the doors or anything like that. So like literally the draw distance, like when you turn your camera, it's going to render in real time, like new stuff that you're facing. Like so imagine racing is the Flash and you're running so fast and you might be outrunning the draw distance because you're moving so fast. It's going to be able to keep up with you. Like you're not going to notice anything. You could race around the entirety of Central City and never have it load at all, ever. And it'll all be different. Like on Spider-Man, they were talking about how newsstands were identical no matter where you went. You'll be able to have multiple iterations of different newsstands all over the city. They'll all visually look different. Like everything will be unique. It's incredible what they were talking about. GQ, go ahead.
Well, out of the chat, Aggro or Die Video said that he wants to know what it's going to look like, the PS5. He said that he knows what the Xbox is looking like. He's going to get a new fridge in his living room.
Yeah, it does.
Well,
I'm sorry, like, when I saw that thing, I'm like, y'all really are going with that box thing motif now.
Yeah,
but,
Yeah, it looked like a shoebox to me.
They said it's actually the size of 2 GameCube stacked, so that's not even that big.
Yeah,
That's
I
fine, but I
noticed
mean,
that quite a
It
bit,
does look
and
like a fridge,
It's weird.
mini fridge.
Now,
yeah.
you know what
literally
does look
is
cool?
going to be one of those situations where you can only play it vertically, and I
Yeah.
don't like that.
No, you can turn it sideways.
Yeah, but why would you want
No, they
to?
have
this thing sideways?
they have the feet where you. Yeah, they have it built to where.
Yeah, but
like,
why
you
would
can,
you? 'Cause it's
you
like-
can take them on.
You know what stood
Like,
out to
they
me?
have
Go
like the
ahead.
feet where you can sit it, where you can lay it down. Oh,
I was gonna
sorry,
say,
go ahead.
no. I was gonna say, what stood out to me was that there, where it glows on the
It
top.
doesn't glow.
Oh,
No, it doesn't glow. I watched the
Lied
thing.
to us?
I'm
It's not-
so disappointed
It's not
now.
light because it's just like
Yeah.
a green like under thing. So it looked like it's glowing. It doesn't.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. That's whack.
That's going to be on a
Well,
special
they,
edition.
That's
so they couldn't,
whack.
so they couldn't just
Yeah, I
like
can see
they
that.
couldn't just install like a LED in the fan.
Yeah,
and
that's
give
what
it
I'm
a
talking
green
about.
The
light.
That's
whole thing
whack.
is where somebody's going to install LED.
Yeah.
Hey, I just thought about
because
it.
They pulled the whole thing. It's like I watched the thing because it was a little bit Digital Foundry, which is on YouTube. They actually do some pretty good, very elaborate breakdowns of certain stuff. But they showed the insides of it, and it's like 5 pieces of it, and it's all almost like a Lego. You put it together and you slide it in the top. So the whole thing is made for airflow to go through of it. and I was a little bit disappointed about that light as well. But I think it'd be a little bit annoying with a bright ass light on the top shining like that.
Well, if you
Put
work
it
your
sideways, it look like a new sound bar.
well,
yeah.
well, I was gonna say
Right.
if you worked it right and you like say you had your room decorated correctly, right? That thing could be a nice ambient light that you have like hunkered in a corner or something like that.
Probably only
That'd be
green.
pretty cool. But to
Was
see
that
it's not.
Alexa? She was blue.
Well, here's my issue with,
Yeah.
with what you're saying, though. Because even if you say you can turn it sideways, if it's as you're saying 2 GameCube stacked, the GameCube wasn't really that tall.
No, it's not that tall at all.
But the GameCube was kind of a little bit wide. So you imagine turning that sideways and trying to put that into a regular entertainment stand slot.
I mean, going into like
No,
what I have in my
it definitely
basement is
takes
probably
up
not going to
more
work
space.
too well.
right, and I think that's
It
the
definitely-
issue. It's like it's
It
it's
definitely
gonna be-
takes up more
yeah.
space because of girth. Seriously.
Yeah, and I
that was kind of like
tourist-
one of my issues with it. But it's like I just had more problems with the name than the actual design of the console.
I don't like the
So,
name either, but Harold Smothers says that the Series X showed that you can have 5 games running simultaneously, meaning you could be playing a game and then like, oh, I want to go to something else, and then it pick up right where you're at, and they say you can
What
turn
kind
it
of
off.
ADHD
And I
bullshit is
did-
that? Like
like,
what?
I don't think that's that wrong because
and I did
all
see
games
that in
now,
action
PlayStation
earlier
5,
today.
4,
I did see
and
that in
Xbox
action.
do
Yeah.
save like where you left off in one game. Like I'm playing Transformers right now. I just put it in rest mode so I can come back and pick it where I left off if I want to.
As long as you don't quit it, it'll do it automatically, no matter what.
but it's
Yeah.
supposed to be 5 games at once. And they
So
do it like
I
this.
guess in a way, I guess I can see the merits of that if
For
you're
me, I think I like that.
if you're if you instead of you putting it in rest mode and then maybe somebody else comes along and they're sharing the Xbox. Like my daughter does this to me all the time. Like I'll leave it in rest mode and she'll take over and she'll be playing Apex Legends or Fortnite or Overwatch or something like that, and then I'll have to boot up my game again instead of being able to boot it back up. So I guess I see the merits of that. That could be pretty cool.
Being a
It
selfish bastard,
depends-
don't see the
it
merits of
depends
I
that.
mean,
Of
for
course
you,
you don't.
it doesn't work for you because
Right.
first off, you save your
All right,
shit.
hold on, Father Marvel. Go ahead.
I know how you are.
Hold on. No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, you
Go ahead.
save your shit and you turn your system off. But like everybody's like how he says he got kids, it works out for him. For me, I just don't like to have to load all the stuff back up.
Yeah,
just jump right
same,
back into the game.
same.
So I think that's kind of
Yeah, I
cool,
like
and
it.
I'm
I
pretty
dig
sure
it.
PlayStation
Yeah.
5 is going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So what info you got on the Xbox Series X for us, Fallen Marvel?
So no, like I saw a video that came out a couple of days ago. I think I forget my man's name. It was like Austin Evans or something like that. And he was demonstrating how that works. So like so far as we could see, it definitely does work. So it definitely, again, load times at this point really are a thing of the past. It's like you fire up the game, it starts. So, but it's like to that point as far as I think that's more to illustrate how strong the processing power in it is, as opposed to it's like I don't know who is gonna have like 3 or 4 games like going at one time. But even with that being said, like also like I'm also thinking about how would that work for multiple profiles on one thing? Like, I mean, would it still save that person's progress while it's doing it, while you save your progress on yours? Like, I don't know. So I don't know if it's just more or less showing how much processing power it has versus it being an actual practical feature. Because of course we're thinking about it. We're just trying to think of like how practical the damn thing is going to be at the end of the day.
Oh, I'm gonna laugh at y'all when your data's corrupted between all them games trying to remember it.
Exactly. See, yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm
something
saying.
like
It's
that probably will happen.
Ooh, Terrafly. I just realized that. Didn't Rick and Morty do the Terrafly? What was it called? Terraflies? I'm sorry, it just came to my head. It just,
Wow.
Oh, no, hold on.
Suck my
Now,
Terraflies.
Dido said something.
Suck my teraflops. Really?
Now, Dido said something, though. One
So,
thing you haven't said anything about is backwards compatibility.
Yeah, that right there is a
Yeah,
bit concerning to me because from what I was seeing, the PlayStation 4, all they mentioned is the PlayStation. PlayStation 5. All they mentioned was about PlayStation 4. Right now, it's not fully backwards compatible. It says about 100 games right now. By the time later on, it's probably going to be like 400 or something like games. I want all of it. Me personally, I'm disappointed unless I hear I want 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I agree.
And 100% backwards.
And I want all of them region unlocked.
Yes,
Hell yeah.
that's what I want.
Yeah.
No, it's not gonna happen because that's what I want.
Well, no. For US and Japan, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I want regional
That's
lock.
what I want too. Because like seriously, you people haven't seen my basement. I don't have a PlayStation 1 hooked up because I don't have to. Because the PlayStation 3 does 1, 2, and 3, right? But then I got Japanese games that I want to play.
Right.
A PlayStation 1 and 2, so I gotta have my Japanese PlayStation 2 hooked up in order to play those games. And I want to be able to pull that stuff off when I don't have to worry about it. Because even with the Xbox One, I still have to have my 360 up because it's not 100% backwards compatible, and I still have to have my Xbox still because not all Xbox games are 100% backwards compatible with the Xbox 360 or the. I'm just like, this is annoying.
That's a mouthful.
It is. It is. The Xbox Series, the family.
Peter Parker picked a pickle pepper.
Yeah. The only one that doesn't really bother me too much is like for my Nintendo stuff, it's weird because I got my Wii hooked up, but my Wii is hacked. So I can play other stuff, and then I got the Wii U hooked up, which I don't even turn on.
Yeah, it did sound crazy, didn't it? I got my Wii hooked up.
You got my Wii.
You got my Wii hooked
So-
up. Yeah, go ahead, man.
How I look as far as the backwards compatibility, that's definitely like the big thing for everybody else. Now, what I will say on the Sony side is, yes, they're testing PS4 backwards compatibility, which for them I guess is more doable because the architecture, whatever case may be. And the thing is, we've seen like how difficult it was for them for PS3 trying to emulate PS2 games. Like for whatever reason, they just couldn't get it right to where it worked all the time. So I can kind of see like where they're trying to start, and hopefully they'll work backwards. But I think what Sony is attempting to do is at least just probably focus on like the fairly recent one. At the very least, I hope they at least get PS3 on board at the very least. But we have to kind of wait and see what that is because of just how much drawback they've had with backwards compatibility in the past. So I could see that probably being a thing that they implement later on, because I guess it's just like some things they're just going to be behind the curve with Microsoft on. Now, Microsoft having complete backwards compatibility, that's awesome. I think that's really great for a lot of people that have been with with Xbox since the first one. Even with that being said, it's not a whole lot that you can really go backtrack to beyond the 360, except for like the handful of games on the first Xbox that everybody loved. So it's like at the same time, it's like that's cool, but at the same time, it's like either
that important?
It's like right, and at the same time, a lot of those games again. If you have a gaming PC, you can play all of those games, so you don't really need them. So, and that's kind of like a thing that's sort of shooting Xbox in the foot because they're essentially competing with themselves and competing with their own PC base. And even it's like they're competing and catering to the PC base, which is kind of funny at the same time.
Go ahead,
not only that, just on that same topic, the backwards compatibility is fine. And again, I've always said this: as long as it doesn't hinder the power of the current system. If the current games have to take a hit because you want to play old games, bring out your old system. I'd rather play the best that you offer. Period, because that was part of the reason they took the emulation engine out of the PlayStation 3s
because it was killing PS3s.
The price was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So might also help with the overheating and whatnot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It probably was doing that.
Let's be real.
And since then,
it's real.
Since then,
if you have a
Sony has been
4K
trying to do
TV and
everything
you're playing
they
an
can to
old
try to keep
PlayStation
costs
1
down.
game,
So
it's gonna look like crap.
That's why it's like one of the things they don't try to like overdo it with the specs, because they at least want to get longevity out of the systems. That's like why 9 times out of 10, like a lot of PlayStation consoles lasted longer than the Xbox consoles.
Good point.
I get it.
Good
but
point.
That whole thing about those 4K games, I mean, they can upscale that stuff.
But you can do that on your PC.
Okay, hold on. If you upscale a PlayStation 1 game on a 4K TV, it's gonna be
it's gonna look trash.
It depends on
it's
how
gonna look trash
and what kind of upscale they have. I'm not talking about TV upscalers, like the $400 or $500 upscalers that they sell. Granted. That's not going to be on PlayStation 5 because we're not paying $1,000 for friggin' PlayStation 5.
I'm good.
Exactly.
I'd rather just stick with the PC emulated stuff.
I'm a little selfish. I get it. I might just have to have my stuff hooked up.
Right.
It's not
I think it's not that you're selfish, and we need to move on to the next topic. But it's not that you're selfish. It's just that you are you and people like you are unique amongst the populace, that you retain all of your games. You don't trade them in. A lot of people trade them in. They don't have them anymore. So for them, right. So for them, backwards compatibility isn't that much of a deal breaking issue. Like, you know, I could probably take it or leave it, because I could probably emulate the rest of what I got, and I'll be fine. But I mean, I do get it for you, but like with GQ and his the Magic PlayStation, you know, Mini, I'd be good with that.
And I thought about doing that. I really have thought about selling my whole entire collection and emulating this stuff. I thought about it. It's been a thought. I didn't say I do it, but I thought
I would never do that.
Right.
Now, one more thing before we move on.
Last thing.
Small thing. One of the things I really hope that they do get a handle on is the fact that, as far as like installing games, I really hope they restructure it some kind of way to where like that install data does not just immediately take up all of that stuff. Because if it's running this fast, it really doesn't need to install like the whole entire disc on the console before you can play it. Hopefully they can restructure it.
Yeah, they'll probably do that. It'll probably do that. All right, guys, we need to move on to the next topic. You can keep the conversation going in the chat, and let us know your thoughts on Xbox One S or Xbox One X versus not even Xbox One X, Xbox. You know what I mean?
Xbox X versus
yeah. There you go. All right, y'all. Here we go.
Sample the merchandise.
All right, y'all. So we have a you see that it says Soundwave in there, and the reason why it says Soundwave is that the Walmart has reissued the Transformers Generation 1 toys back at Walmart. So like these were the toys that most of my friends grew up playing with. These are the original ones. GQ still has the vast majority of his in his possession still. He's added to it since by buying a bunch of Masterpiece Transformers. But, Super Nerd actually was the one that kind of showed it to me, that brought out. He showed a picture of an Astro Train in his hands, in the original packaging and everything too, that originally came out. And I was like, oh man, I used to have Soundwave. I would love to have Soundwave again. I haven't had them since I was like, 9 years old. So I would love to have Soundwave again. So I said, hey, for the show, I'll do it for the show. I'll go and grab Soundwave. So I went and grabbed Soundwave. I grabbed all the cassettes that Soundwave came with at Walmart, and here they are right here, actually on the table. So we're looking at it, right? So here's Soundwave in the original packaging. And as you notice, that's what I love so much about the original packaging is that you got the original art. You got the little cutout with the red little power meters that you used to have with the red 3D tape or 3D whatever it was. It's like it was red film that you have, so you could like cut these out and read the background of the characters, their function and all this other kind of stuff. Most kids, kind of didn't really care about that. I did. I was obsessed about this shit.
Some of the best.
Yeah, they were. Like, was Larry Hama doing all of that stuff?
I believe
even for G.I. Joe too.
Yeah, I believe he did.
Yeah.
Well, Larry Hama wrote every single G.I. Joe card.
Dude, that was crazy.
That's dope.
It is crazy the way he did that, yeah, man. But no, but as you notice, like the art, look at Optimus's face in the art, right? Like if you can see it.
Yeah, it's a little bit off.
Yeah.
Eyeballs are weird.
Like what is that? Like
sensors.
It's like a VR
He's
trooper.
squinting and he's got yellow eyes.
Yeah.
VR trooper. That was funny.
But if you look at the OG Optimus toy, it got yellow.
Oh, that's true. Without a doubt, that's true. But I mean, again, we're all used to what we got on the cartoon, of course.
Right.
Blue eyes versus red eyes, and that was the main thing.
Hey, look.
Right.
Show the cover of the top part where it says "Evil Decepticon."
Well,
That's just weird as shit. Like we.
What?
Well, here's the
The
thing.
logo-
Are the Decepticons truly evil? They're just trying to survive.
Wow. Here he goes again with his
Yeah,
evil is a
but
point
it's
of view.
true, though. Think about it. They lived on a planet. There was a civil war going on, and they decided, like, look, damn it, we about to go find another. Like, I'm sorry, the Autobots left. The Autobots left. Like, we gonna go basically come to
Like
another
y'all
planet.
left.
Right.
It wasn't us. Y'all left. Right?
Plus got defeated.
It's like y'all basically kind of lost the fight, so you went over to find
Alright,
another
so I'm gonna
planet.
go ahead and
Find another planet
try and
to
open
take over.
Soundwave. Oh, yeah, no.
Evil ass
upgrade this.
Autobots. So you over to find another, trying to find another planet to take over. The Decepticons is there trying to get y'all to come back home so they can maybe work this out, sit at the table, negotiate.
Right.
And then
Wow.
Prime was like, "Fuck that! I'm going I'm taking the Ark." Look at that. Prime was kind of a religious zealot. He put him on the Ark and it was flying.
A religious zealot, really?
Yeah, flying out to some place. And then the Decepticons got there trying to be peaceful about it, trying to get them to come back. Be like, look, we can talk this over or whatever. They crash land on Earth, sit there for 4 million years.
And didn't do shit.
Didn't do nothing. And guess what? Out of the kindness of the heart of the ship's computer, they brought back...
Teletran won!
Teletran won was the only one that was smart in the whole situation. Was like, you know what? The Decepticons is trying to do right by everybody. And he brought back Thundercracker first. Thundercracker grabbed Megatron, put him in the little beam, and got him healed and everything, and all the Decepticons got healed. And Prime and all of them was just there. And Megatron was trying to give them a proper burial and a proper send off. Fired, a little bit at the mountain so they could bury him. And Prime got knocked into the little beam, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, the war kept on because Prime is
all right. So
zealot and all.
right, so I managed to get the box open. So we're doing a little unboxing right here, live on Culture
You're on my
Junkies
turf with
Live.
the unboxing thing there, sir.
Yeah. What?
You're on my turf with the unboxing.
Yeah, I am. I know. I know. I'm taking it. So this
Coaching.
one.
Ooh, can I play with it?
Yeah, look at this little child over here.
Listen,
Anyway,
my cousin
here.
used to kick my
All right,
ass when
so-
it touches Transformers.
So we got Buzzsaw over here. I'm gonna hand that to Super Nerd.
I always wanted the tapes.
Get Soundwave out. Why'd you want the tapes and not the actual
I wanted him
cassette
too,
player?
but the tapes were cool too. Don't front.
Now here's the thing. Let's be honest about the price, though. How much did it cost to get everything?
It cost me about $80 to get all of this.
Okay. Now here's the funny thing about that.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly from the Sears catalog, Soundwave was either $14.99 or $19.99. It was one of the two.
Hey man, I would love for someone to actually have that.
Oh, I know. I have scans of all the catalogs.
You have scans? Of
Yeah.
course you do, because of
But-
course you do.
But it's and I think the cassettes, they came in 2-packs, just like what we see here. They came in the 2-pack that, I got it on my camera.
Goddamn
here.
lotion on my
They came in
hand.
these 2-packs. And I think these 2-packs, were only like $5.
That's
So-
like you said, put lotion on your hand.
So it's insane, the markup. Now, granted, it is what it is. It's collector's deal and all that sort of stuff. And I have zero problems with the pricing as it is now. But it's just funny to think that these toys, like the Millennium Falcon, used to be like a $30 toy.
Right.
Like the fact that thing was $30. The fact that the USS flag was only $200 back then. And you can't even touch a USS flag for less than like $7 or $8, maybe even $1,500 if you find a really
Motherfucker's
good
head,
condition
huh?
one. Don't break it.
Ah, no, I ain't gonna do that.
Bet not.
I ain't gonna break it.
Bet not.
This is little
Anyway.
Chris, tell him I ain't gonna break it.
And so, so anyway, yeah, no, I'm looking at the irony here of trying to get Soundwave out of his packaging. When we were little kids, we would have ripped the shit out of this plastic,
Of
man.
course.
Just been like trying to get him out. So here, I'm gonna
He
hand
had no
Soundwave over
concept
to
of
you.
being
Man,
careful
that's not
with
as high
somebody.
deal as
Yeah.
damn
Supposed to be
head.
your expert transformer.
No,
hey.
I'm just handing it to you so I can get the rest of his accessories out.
Here's the messed up part though. Both of the stickers is trying to come off.
Ooh, that's whack. I hated that
what?
as a kid.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Okay,
Good.
okay.
Here you go, Buzzsaw.
All right, thank you,
Man, a stereo micro cassette recorder.
thank you.
Hilarious that.
All right, there's his arm cannon.
No,
There's
hold
his
on.
shoulder
Let's just
cannon.
go ahead and just do a comparison to see if.
Yeah. So he's got his masterpiece Soundwave over here.
Oh wait, nope. The tapes are. No, it's a tight fit, but the
Ooh-wee.
masterpiece one does fit in there.
Oh no way!
Yeah, so the tapes.
That's dope.
Yeah, so the tapes are physically the exact same size.
Okay.
The masterpiece one versus the Soundwave. Obviously, the masterpiece Soundwave, as you can see, is definitely going to be a little bit bigger. I mean, let's just be real. He's designed to be a bigger museum style showpiece. Yeah, he's.
What do they say in the chat? Anything? Go as GQ's talking.
What was that? The one Soundwave that came out the radio actually plays.
That was in Japan.
That was Japan.
Yeah, that was.
Of course, they got all the good shit.
Right.
Tony Young says he had a tub full of G.I. Joe file cards.
A tub.
A
oh,
tub.
like a toad. Like a toad.
And he also said Megatron started the Civil War on Cybertron as a gladiator slave. Not that I agree with GQ, but
What? Megatron was the good guy. in the
If I
story.
remember correctly, he was.
Megatron was the good guy.
Come on, think about it. What did Megatron do that was truly diabolical in that show? He was trying to get energy so they could get back home.
facts.
I mean, if you think about it, by destroying Earth, I'd be a little bit upset. I like Earth.
He never tried to destroy Earth.
He tried to take
That one
energy
episode.
from Earth. Dude, the
about that one
solar
episode?
system is huge.
Yeah.
And if you have the capability of moving from planet to planet, they should just got energy from a sun, a star somewhere. Just suck it right out.
But
has
again,
natural
this is the 80s. They didn't have all that tech. They had enough tech to get here. That was
they
about
had
it.
the Sky Bridge.
Well, after the second
Space
season,
Bridge?
they had all that
Space
shit.
Bridge.
Well,
Right.
in the space, hey. Now you bring it back to Space Bridge again. The Space Bridge, they built the Space Bridge, and what was they doing? Sending Energon back to Cybertron so they could bring the planet
That's
back
basically
to
what
life.
they were doing.
Now guess what? They was sending it back to life, and guess what? What the Autobots do? Come in, wreck it. Oh no, you can't do that. Blah blah. It's like all they was trying to do.
Think about it now.
We don't like
They was trying to get home. That's literally what they was trying to do.
So now I thought about it. Now, what did the Autobots really do? Because I know they need an energon
They were
too.
just
So
defending it from Earth.
I know, but they need energon to survive too. So
They
they
had Spike and his dad. They
But
worked
still,
on the
though.
oil plant.
So they're human slaves, in other words, right?
Right.
no. So I think basically they got some skimming off the top. They probably say, "I'll save your planet if you give me some energon."
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
you
they.
know?
Oh, so they was working a hustle then.
I think they was.
Oh, okay.
Now you think about it, it was like he said, Megatron, Decepticons was trying to get back home. They did what they had to do to get Energon. Autobots may save the planet, but it's about 20 of them motherfuckers, and they need Energon too. So there's got to be some kind of work with me type of stuff going on. Just saying.
Yeah,
It makes sense
yeah,
now.
Yeah, I think if you really look at a lot of the cartoons we watched, the quote unquote bad guys weren't always the
Bad guys. No.
I mean, I think Cobra was.
Cobra was a health insurance company. man.
Or he is the health insurance.
Cobra's
they
Blue
actually
Cross
still
Blue
are.
Shield.
Yeah, Cobra is. No, we ain't putting no names out there.
Oh,
Cobra-
sorry.
Wow.
Cobra is Cobra.
Sorry.
Period. So
Cobra.
Cobra. Cobra is.
All right. So I got Ravage out, and then
Ravage.
and then I'm getting Rumble out.
Rumble was red and Frenzy was blue.
That's correct.
Except for in the comic book.
Right.
Wait, say that again? I thought he was always.
No, Rumble is red.
Rumble's red.
In the comics and the toys, Rumble is red. And Frenzy is blue. So in
Well,
the
the cartoon-
TV show, they flipped them.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he rarely ejected Frenzy anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
It was almost
Besides the
always
movie.
Rumble.
It was always Rumble.
Oh, no. He in the
And
cartoon-
Rumble was
really-
my dude, man.
Yeah,
I love Rumble.
Hand me your package right there. I
Yeah.
bet you they got it right on
Oh
here.
yeah, they got it right.
See? Oh no, see? That's Frenzy, and he's the blue one.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
And
of course,
Rumble
Laserbeak is next to him. I'm trying to keep the packaging together.
you see that other.
But
you got
dude, this
Laserbeak?
shit was hard to do.
And Rumble, like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah,
there's a big one.
yeah.
Okay.
For whatever and there was an acronym that actually helped people remember it or something like that. But yeah, in the cartoon they flipped it, they changed it up, and for a lot of people, Rumble is always the quote unquote purple
Primary.
bluish one.
Yeah.
So, and that just basically stuck. And for me, granted the comics are there, but Transformers the animated movie is the end all be all when it comes to canon for me, because that movie was still awesome.
Classic.
What about the Devastation since that was G1?
Devastation was really well done.
Yep.
Obviously, Chris Latta wasn't alive to do Starscream's voice, so
Good
like,
job, that guy.
no, yeah, the guy did a really good job as a sound-alike. Megatron sounded off.
He did.
But I think that was still
Was it Frank Welker?
It's
wasn't
Frank
I think
Welker,
it's
but
still
it's
Frank Welker.
he again age because
Yeah.
like James Earl Jones' Darth Vader doesn't sound the same, obviously.
No, not at all.
And the same same thing with his Mufasa. Of course, you ain't gonna sound the exact same as you sounded 10, 15, 20, whatever years ago.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that was. Is like as I was playing it, I'm like, dude, Megatron sounds wrong, but I know it's the right guy doing the voice. So it was just them little. And again, that's a nitpick because they did an amazing job on the voice work in that game. Like,
Of course, you
everybody.
got stickers. I mean,
Peter
and
Cullen, I don't know
instruction.
what the hell he does with his voice. He must wake up every morning and drink like a gallon of honey and lemon juice because that
Yeah.
man's voice sounds the same.
You said honey. He sounded a little bit different in the live action movies, but in that game he
that's
sounded
probably
the
because they
same.
process it different though.
Oh,
They
yeah.
probably processed it like hella process.
And speaking of honey, because you know he does the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Peter Cullen does the voice
original
of Winnie
Peter-
the
what?
Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Just like freaking Frank Welker is Fred on Scooby Doo.
Frank Welker.
I knew that.
Frank Welker's
Yeah.
damn
Frank
near-
Welker
He's
is
in
a
a
legend.
lot of
damn near-
stuff.
Every time you hear a dog bark, it was probably Frank Welker.
Not just a
Right.
dog. If you hear like just some kind of weird animal noises, that's Frank Welker.
Right. Matter of fact, if you hear an owl outside your house, it's probably Frank Welker.
Frank, get out my tree. You're in my tree, for Frank.
So, I mean, it's yeah. His legs are like it's like they're
His legs
super
are
stiff, super
Hey,
stiff.
remember the freaking metal one though? We got super loose.
Yeah, it
Oh,
did.
yeah, yeah. Once the metal got loose, it was over. It was
Yeah,
like,
it was over.
And the worst part is like the thing that used to bug me the most about Transformers toys was Megatron. I had 3 different Megatrons and throughout childhood.
Yeah, you had the diecast one too.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And he would break in the exact same point
Every
on
time, every
all
single
3 of them. So I had original Megatron, but he broke every single time. Had to take him back. Broke. Had to take him back. Broke. Had to take him back. I'm like, damn it. And the worst part is Megatron. I think was only like probably the same as Soundwave, $20 or something. Like, if I could just go back in time. With the money I have now, do you know how much stuff I would have from my childhood? Like,
Right.
dude, I would have had I'd have a storeroom full of USS flags and Megatrons, and just be putting them out on eBay every couple of years.
This don't make no sense.
It doesn't go down.
Yeah, that
It
thing
reminded me
was
of
super stiff.
Metroplex. 'cause
This
I had
boy is
Metroplex,
super
but
stiff.
didn't
I
know
managed to
Metroplex
get
broke
one
the
leg
same
down,
spot.
Yeah.
and that's it. Like I managed to
You know
get
what
one
the
leg
funny
down.
thing is?
Like I didn't mean to take up this entire segment trying to pull his leg apart.
You over there molesting your Soundwave.
Pretty much, dude. It's like, come on.
Show where he touched you at.
So,
Right. Show us where Kenshiro touched you, Soundwave.
right. Anyway, so what do they say in the chat?
The worst part is we trying to get a size comparison, and this man's leg just won't work.
So you know what? I'll tell you what.
Get some oil on that.
Right. I'll keep struggling with Soundwave. But obviously, we're trying to do a comparison. We'll try and maybe do
We'll get to
both
that in
of
a
them.
second.
Yeah, we'll get to the
Let me hit the
like,
chat though while you
yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Aggro or Die Videos has said that he wanted to know how much the tapes retail for. Those were $20. For
yeah,
the
they're
2-pack,
about
right?
$20 a piece, and they get you a 2-pack, and there's only 2 packs really available.
Well,
that
that's all.
they had.
That's all that ever had
Yeah.
in the original show. Which
So-
he had Buzzsaw, Laserbeak, Rumble Frenzy, and Ravage.
What about the wasn't there like a bull?
Rat Bat didn't show up until
No,
the
no,
movie.
no. There was a bull, wasn't it?
That
Not a
was
bull.
Blaster stuff.
Those blasters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Blaster had a rhinoceros and a.
That's what I was
and a
talking
tiger.
about. Okay.
Lion.
Steel
I'm
Jaw.
sorry.
What was it, a
sorry,
lynx?
lion.
But I don't even know the Rumble and Frenzy alternatives. I don't even know their
It was,
names.
Yeah,
it
some
was
too.
eject and rewind.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's what
eject
it
and
was.
rewind,
Yeah,
yeah.
eject and
It was
rewind.
rewind, eject,
Steel Jaw.
Steel Jaw, and I always forget the rhino's name because I didn't care.
Ain't nobody
Dude,
care right now.
But I do. Oh, go ahead.
No,
It's
no,
like
go
I
ahead.
need some WD-40 in this
Need
bitch,
something,
man.
But I do remember the moment in the theater when Blaster debuted his tapes. The fucking crowd went crazy.
Like,
It was
wait a
like-
minute, you got tapes too?
Because he never did it in
Right.
the series, did he?
Huh?
He never did it.
had
No
it.
way,
The
two
movie
can
is- the
play,
movie was the
and
first
then
time
he-
he showed that he
Really?
had tapes.
Yeah.
The Dinobot showing up was cool as hell, and then one of them suddenly disappeared at the end of the movie.
Right,
By
exactly.
the time they got to the end of the movie, and it was just like the movie.
Damn.
That movie was so perfect, man.
It was.
Like I literally would love to. Well, they're all closed now.
Right.
But once they reopen them, we might have to rent out a theater and show Transformers the movie. 'Cause
we
that
did.
movie is
amazing.
still to this day one of the. Man, I remember there was a story. Me, Big Pimp, and Jay was trying to help Dido get one of his original game rooms together, and I made the stupid suggestion that we put on a movie in the background. This was some background noise, and I of course picked Transformers the movie.
Of course you did.
And I think we got to the point where the Decepticons raided the ship,
And that was all she wrote.
It was over.
and they was battling. It was like,
Okay.
we can watch this real quick.
Right.
And by the time we were finished, we watched the whole
90
movie.
minutes later.
We had moved maybe like 3 or 4 games from one side to the other side of the road.
That was a mistake.
That was a huge mistake, but hey.
Oh, the
that's-
other time, remember we had a meeting.
Oh
We
God.
was all hanging out one night, and then background music,
Yep.
or showing that, and that's all she wrote.
Right.
Well, the worst part is and again, it's kind of it's a funny thing I do. When we used to have meetings at my house, I would always grab.
A movie.
No, it wasn't always a movie because the movie's too long. I would always grab Batman the Animated Series, and we would randomly go 1 through 4 because there's 4 volumes, and then just pick a random number, and that was the episode number you had to go for. And unfortunately, we usually always ended up on good episodes. Then again, most of the show was good.
Yep.
But we ended up on episodes like Almost Got Him. So you know you're gonna sit
Classic.
through that. You know you're gonna watch that whole thing. We ended up on stuff like Two-Face, where he slapped the dog shit out of that one henchman.
He sure did. He sure
We-
did.
we ended up
He
on all
slapped
the
the
good
life
stuff
out of that man.
constantly. Man.
Yeah.
So it was, man. Oh wait. Head of Omega says Steve Blum's Starscream was great. He must be talking about one of the later series.
Yeah, one of the ones I probably haven't watched. Only Transformers series that I watched after the OG one was The 3D one. When did it come out? Oh my gosh.
Transformer Prime.
Yeah, Prime.
That was amazing.
Prime, I'm sorry. G1 is nostalgic and it's good. Prime was like a million times better because it was
Prime is a
people
better story.
died.
Prime is an actual story.
Yeah.
Like, all the G1 stuff, of course, was episodic. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
selling toys.
But in that Golden Lagoon episode,
That was goofy.
He was drunk off of that gold.
Oh my
Energizer.
god!
I just
that
think it's
shit
crazy
was
that you can
goofy.
get those Transformer masterpiece, every single one. In fact, I think you can get some of the original ones in gold just because they eventually made them. Just because.
Hey, I look at it this way though. The one masterpiece that I would love to track down that is probably almost impossible to get is the Gold Optimus and the Sleep Mode Optimus.
Yeah, that sleep mode, you having a hard time finding that
Yeah,
one.
Sleep Mode is probably impossible to get. For those that don't know, Sleep Mode Optimus is the Masterpiece Optimus, the big one, but it's him basically at the moment he died in the animated movie when he turned all
That's
gray
sad.
and
It's like a
died.
mausoleum.
So it's just like having that would be kind of bittersweet, but also at the same time it's like ultimate.
It's like a
collector's item.
must-have. Like you like why
Well,
wouldn't
you know what?
want
He's just
that?
gonna have a quick size comparison with his leg out.
Yeah.
he's gonna be over there.
It's like
sitting on
this
a fire
is
hydrant.
crazy, man. Look at this, man.
Well, hey,
This man, he got one arm, one
that's-
leg.
That's what you get for going to Walmart.
You want
One
a
arm,
sleep
one
mode
leg.
Optimus? $1,200.
One
on
arm,
eBay.
one leg.
real?
All right, so here's
Oh, yeah,
Soundwave right there.
He's very
Bulky. Karate kick to the side.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
he's
what he looked like.
pretty
He's just
small
the
by
one when he
comparison,
died
so-
and he had changed that
great.
color.
Gotcha.
$1,200.
$1,200 by now.
If it wasn't for me getting a new camera soon, I would actually buy that. Yes, I'm that crazy, ladies and gentlemen. I would actually buy a $1,200 Transformer.
They got the
It's like-
the
he's so
Evangelion
bulky.
one is
Love what we
$900.
love, right?
I should have picked that one up when they were so cheap.
All right, so yeah, that's the size comparison. He is about I don't know, he's about 2/3 the size. It's pretty cool. I'll give them props. The one thing that he can't do, because you can see he's got them super stiff arms, is he can't do what Masterpiece can do and actually hit the eject button on his
EJ
On himself.
operation.
So that to me alone is what makes the master. Again, I'm lying. A lot of stuff makes the Masterpiece line really, really great. But so,
Like,
yeah.
like I just transformed Ravage. How in the hell would you stand this boy up? Like, look at him.
Very carefully, because Masterpiece Ravage looks like this.
Yeah.
He's
Like he actually has a body.
Let me
like,
see Ravage.
body, and then that
You want to see Ravage here?
Yeah.
This Ravage is like super thin.
Yeah, that Ravage is like. That Ravage is on
He's
that-
bigger. Wow,
You remember
he's
those
bigger
little
than Masterpiece.
those styrofoam
He's on
toys
that-
you
he's on
had?
that
And you
Slim
put
Fast
water on them,
diet.
they blow up.
Yeah.
He's bigger, but he's on that Slim Fast diet. Though.
Yeah.
It's hella
Yep,
weird.
so, but this has been a fun segment.
That's cool though.
Except for the fact
that's
that
also pretty cool though.
Yeah,
I
I'll-
gotta miss out on that
your,
era a little bit.
your Walmart Transformer.
my Walmart Transformer.
Can you
Yeah,
like
I know.
scratch us when you scratch the logo, right?
Yeah, no, you don't scratch.
Nope,
it.
do not scratch the logo.
I
Just-
remember. I just
all you gotta do is just put your
hand on it.
warm
It's a-
thumbprint on
It's
it.
a thermal print. dude.
Yeah.
I remember
Warm
scratching
thermal
as a
print.
kid.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's not a scratch and sniff there, buddy.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So it's kind of fun. So we'll have to come back to that. But let's get to the main event.
The main event.
All right.
Yeah, so this is my part where you get to hear me talk. Super Nerd Plus here, and this is your survival kit on the lemon lime virus, aka the Corona Rona.
Lemon lime virus.
So this is my little top things I would do if I was on that lemon lime virus quarantine. Let me go to my little list. Oh yeah, I'm still working though, but whatever. So first of all, I have this Marvel year by year book that came out a few years ago. So basically, this book, I wish I had it with me. I didn't bring it with me. It's like a big ass encyclopedia of everything with Marvel before they became Marvel. It was Timely Comics, and I think it had another name before that. It was the Atlas, I believe. And it gives you everything rundown from what they did in the comic books, each character, each storyline, and also on the side of that book, it also gives you what happened in that year. Like I remember the one like in the 60s they had whatever was happening in the 60s, and then they show you like, oh, President Kennedy was assassinated, or this happened this time frame, this was going on at the same time they were doing comic books. And it goes from the 20s, 30s. Oh wait, no, is it 2030? It might be 2030s, 50s, 60s, to so forth and so on. And it's just so cool. You can see every story arc that happened. And I haven't read it. I bought it and never read it, so I would definitely read that. And then catch up on all my other comic books I have that I've been buying lately and I haven't flipping read yet. Let's see what else. Oh, after I get done reading books in this little quarantine, I would definitely go to watch stuff on TV.
So the first pick I would have is The Expanse. Y'all remember The Expanse? That was on the Sci-Fi Channel, but Amazon Prime picked it up. They're 4 seasons deep. I think they got a season 5 coming up. And I'm a big science fiction head, so I would definitely watch that to the completion. The next thing would be to watch all, 25, 26 seasons of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Man, you crazy, bro.
You're damn right. I just finished
you
one.
crazy.
I just finished
No,
Power
no.
Rangers Beast Morphers. Thank you very
Man,
much.
you
Look,
crazy.
that's cool, but we gonna have to make a list of which ones to watch and which
Exactly.
ones to avoid.
So,
my
I mean,
friend.
I
all
was
of
gonna
them are
watch
not
this for-
created equal.
Well, I mean, Alien, the Alien one's kind of trash, but I'll still watch anyway. And like I said, I just finished Beast Morphers,
More
which
power
was,
to you.
it was, well, when you got time in your hand and nothing to do, so shit. That would be one of the things I'll watch. And Preacher, I still haven't watched Preacher yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I finished all
You
the
finished
Preacher?
it? Yeah.
Watched all of it.
I
Love
gotta
it.
sit and
Really
watch
good?
that.
I love Preacher.
I'll definitely check that. I'll probably get on the. No, never mind. I'm not gonna say that because commercials on Hulu. Bing.
I pay for my Hulu, so there's no commercials.
Ah.
Watched it all, and I felt kind of sad at the last episode.
Really?
Though, seriously, I
That
was just like, you'll see when you get through it. You'll see why I felt sad. Like, wow, that's messed up.
So and then I'll go rewatch all the Marvel movies again. Do
Any
that for-
DC movies?
No, I'm not touching that.
Sorry, with Tim
Don't
Burton, Batman.
disrespect me,
No.
sir.
Listen, again, that's another list that you would have to make if
Right.
if we're going to the DC pond.
Yeah, it'd probably be a short and sweet couple of movies, and that's
Y'all
it.
be bashing DC. Man. That's kind
How-
of
Oh,
Well,
sir,
yeah.
give me you bash DC.
We get maybe 10 decent ones.
I mean,
think.
if anything, I watch '89 Batman and that'll be
78
Return to
Superman?
Batman. Huh?
78 Superman?
I got all those actually.
oh,
Besides,
you
I
do?
ain't watching the Quest though.
Oh, no. Well, no, watch the Quest so you can make fun of it.
Of course, what?
Yeah.
You gotta watch Quest. You gotta watch.
You gotta watch
for
Quest
Peace.
on the
You
DVD.
gotta watch Quest for Peace with the.
Superman got the corona in that one because I'm a
Yeah.
man from the sun. Scratch him on the neck, gave him corona.
He had the Rona. He had that Rona.
Hey, speaking of really bad Superman moments, real quick, Superman 3, when he was in the bar, dog, that is some of the most classic. Watching Christopher Reeve play a heel is so.
Dude, the shit was
Funny.
amazing. I loved it as a kid.
It's so funny. It's just like, dude.
What are you looking at? Huh?
He was just, he turned into like that drunk uncle so fast,
Yeah.
dude. I was like, oh my
See,
goodness.
that at least shows that the third one has some cool moments in it. It's like the movie as a whole is not good,
No.
but that's definitely one of the standout moments in it, like for sure. Was the bar scene, but obviously the fourth
the bar
one, that
scene
was,
and
that
the
was
fight in the junkyard.
Finally got it, huh?
Yeah, I finally got his fucking leg, man. It's took me
I
forever.
mean, I'm not.
Anyway.
I'm not too well versed on the old Superman movies. I did watch them when I was a kid, but I can't remember scene for scene. I remember it was a great thing to watch because that was like one of the first superhero things I remember.
Yeah,
But-
like that, it was. I mean, that like the first two came out before like I was born, but I mean, kind of backtracking, watching them like as a little kid, like I absolutely love them and still love them to this day. So, I mean, if anything, rewatch the first two. If anything,
Right. I mean, come on, the first one's always the best ones, and after that, it's kind of like. And then my last few things, then you guys can talk about what your little survival kit would be. Definitely be unfinished games. Like Last of Us. I haven't finished that yet. Almost done.
I haven't even started that.
It's fucking amazing.
I need to
That's what
start
everybody
that
tell
one.
me.
I need to start
It's
that
so
one
good.
too.
Oh my god. I was playing Last of Us and what was that other shitty game that came out that was kind of like it?
Why has it got to be a shitty game?
Because it sucked. You know why it sucked? You had to put
wait.
gas in your motorcycle. What was that game called?
Oh, Days Gone?
Days Gone. Why am I putting gas in a motorcycle?
Because it's a tense
it's-
moment. You got to
right.
get that gas before those zombies
Right,
get
it's
you.
real.
I had the same thing in State of Decay too. I'm like, dog, why am I getting gas? But now I'm used to it now. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, and you know what's weird about Days Gone? The controls are similar to Last of Us, so I was fucking up when I was playing Last of Us. I'm hitting the wrong buttons because I was playing Days Gone for a little bit. They're similar, but they're kind of like backwards. So I'm like, I'm dying. So I didn't like Days Gone, so I wouldn't play that. But Alien Isolation, I would try my all. I'll put all my quarantine days on this game because that game is hard as shit. It did win some awards, didn't it?
Alien Isolation?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that one.
I think I know it was a really good game. It's just hard as hell.
Then I will beat Shenmue 1 and 2 again.
Just get 3.
I'm gonna get 3. I know it's like $20 now, ain't it?
I don't know.
I just saw it at
Roughly.
Walmart.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
Yeah,
fast.
it's like 30, like $30, I
Games
believe.
keep dropping fast. You just keep your eyeballs on them, man.
Wow.
Again, that's why physical is better than digital. 'Cause
Facts.
Physical, they drop way faster on physical.
And my last thing would be, even though I already beat all 3 of the Tomb Raiders that came out for Xbox One, I still got to get some stuff to get 100%. So I will get 100% on all.
Oh, you beat all 3 of the Tomb Raiders
Yeah,
already?
I did. Yeah, I beat them alone.
I haven't beaten Rise yet. Like I'm playing Rise of the Tomb Raider still. I like it.
Yeah,
I
me
like
too.
it a lot. I just haven't. You know, I swear, I'm not gonna buy Shadow of the Tomb Raider until I beat Rise. So by the time I finally beat Rise, it'll probably be
just
dirt
borrow
cheap.
mine?
Yeah, it'll probably be dirt cheap. I'll
I
play my
think
PC.
Shadow is I think
Yeah.
Shadow is like really cheap now. So like,
Yeah.
you really
It is.
wouldn't
It's
lose
not
anything if you
Actually-
just put it on the back and got it and put it on the backlog until you finish.
I'm not gonna be like that though.
But no, here's a weird thing, though.
I think I got it digitally. No. I bought it twice by accident because I bought a digital because it's really cheap on Steam, and I was like, cheap. And then when those places were closing, I thought it was Rise, so I bought it again for Xbox One. I was like, fuck, I already got this one.
Here's some fun. I guess the game wasn't. I think I told you this, Kenshiro. I don't know if the game was doing well, so I got a message from Xbox. Hey, here goes some free skins and shit like that. They gave me free everything. So there's a point where you can put her skin back to the G1 Laura
Wow.
with the polygons
That probably
and
looks so-
square
The
titty.
polygons?
Yeah, it
What?
looks weird because it's her and the polygons behind some beautiful backdrop. I'm like, I can't play it like
You know,
this.
the best Tomb Raider for like different costumes was Tomb Raider Legend on the Xbox.
Yes.
That's
that
another
game-
game that I got.
Tomb Raider Legend was
That was-
amazing.
That was, I think, the first Xbox 360 game that I got like everything in, like
Yeah.
every achievement point. I guess what was it, 1,000?
Yeah.
It was like for the achievement cap for most games back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got everything in that game because that game was just
No,
fun.
Tomb Raider, that and Anniversary actually were
Yeah,
really
Anniversary
good.
was really well done
Yeah.
too, revisiting the original.
Yeah.
But let's see.
What's your survival
Where to
list?
go next? My survival list is to do what I always do: play video games and watch movies. Like that's the point of having a huge library of stuff is you can just sit back, especially when you have time. Because now that we got time, it's like, oh, it was just before the show. I was talking about I beat Transformers Devastation. I had talking about save files. Like I didn't even think I still had a save file for that game. I turned it up. I'm like, oh,
Nice.
I'm on the second level. It's time to go. Let's do this. So I just ran through it.
I think
Yeah.
the hardest person on there besides Megatron to me was what's it, Starscream you fight? Who was that?
Starscream is a
Starscream.
weird fight.
Yeah,
Is
you
that-
talking about the one where you're in the space bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like that one
That's a
because like I
weird
couldn't tell
fight.
which way is up and where he's at. It's getting on
Yeah.
my nerves.
What I kept doing was I kept doing a special and catching his ass off guard. That's what I kept.
Oh yeah, well, I think that's the one thing that's broken in that game is the fact that if you like do your here's the thing. Full disclosure, I didn't play any other character in that game. Optimus is the only character I even
Really
played.
don't.
He's
Because
the one
like
that's powerful.
Grimlock is interesting.
He's
I don't
But,
like
like,
his robot. His alternate mode sucks.
Yeah, his alt mode sucks. And then like you look at oh god, like I don't like any of the other characters. I don't care about Bumblebee. I don't care
Bumblebee
about
was actually
Sideswipe.
pretty fast.
Sideswipe was pretty sweet with the dual swords.
And that's cute. But
Yeah.
Optimus
Sideswipe?
Prime.
Optimus Prime was.
Yeah, no. The game has a lot of the G1 Transformers.
When I
It's really
jumped
good.
back into the game, it was Bumblebee, and I was at a boss fight, and I was like, "All right, it saved me at a boss fight." And I had to.
Well, you
relearn
just stopped
control.
playing